Hello and welcome to the Wendell Effect. My name is Brandon Wendell and I'm here to discuss the Indian markets for the week of 27th of March 2023. So welcome everyone. Before we get started, just need to remind you we're not broker-dealers or investment advisors. I'm going to take a look at this information from an educational standpoint only, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold any particular securities. It can be personalized recommendations. Past performance is no indication of future results, and we are not subject to trading restrictions, so we can have positions in a security or initiate one at a time. Please stay in touch with me. You can email me at brandonwendell.cmt@gmail.com. You can also catch me at TraderBdub on Twitter, and you can find me obviously on YouTube. I would appreciate it if you wouldn't mind hitting subscribe and like, and also get alerts. That way you are notified when new videos do come out on a regular basis. So I want to thank you for all your support. Last month, the Nifty was down quite a bit, and you can see it was being led by some of the big names here, right in the center, in technology services, energy materials, and even finance was pretty weak, except for ICI. So taking a look at the last week, it did get a little bit greener, but still overall red, and we're in a kind of a bearish period here for the Nifty. Looks like it might end up continuing for a bit. You take a look at the weekly chart, and you see we are starting to base a little bit, going sideways just underneath the 50% retracement of the big run-up from mid-year last year. Problem is that we have now gone below 40 on the RSI. Typically, when you get a close on a chart below 40, that's very, very bearish. So this is suggesting that we're either going to continue to go sideways or drift lower towards 16,603, which is the next Fibonacci retracement. Take a look at the daily chart, you can see we actually hit our projections and pretty much stayed there. We went sideways after we projected down. Last week was kind of a wash, just jumping up slightly at the beginning of the week and then coming right back down. And it looks as though we are going to try to push a little lower, but not right away. You see we lost our bearish momentum here, and it looks like we may go a little sideways before we drop again. So expect another choppy week this week. On the 4-hour chart, this is still looking somewhat bearish. We had a small bounce early in the week. You see we came up to a 38% retracement of the last impulse, and that was after we had hit our projection. Looks like we're going to try to work our way down again towards that 16,400 next projection. But we're doing it with a lot less momentum, so it's going to be very slow but choppy moving to the downside. Looking at Reliance, one of the leaders there, you can see that actually overextended, didn't quite reach to the 100% continuation of the previous impulse, but it did not really rally much either. So again, we're losing bearish momentum. That's suggesting we're going to move very slowly sideways and down for the upcoming week. Looking at TCS, whoops, sorry, didn't mean jump there. There we go. TCS, you can see that after a quick move we had to the downside last week, we pretty much retraced, but a very weak retracement of only 23.6. We still have plenty of momentum and should push down this week, heading towards basically 3,000 is where we're looking at going this week. We also have Infosys looking very, very weak. You can see we didn't really even pause here at the 61.8% extension. We went right to the 100%, getting a little bit of a pause in price, but with all this bearish momentum, we're likely to keep going down until we have earnings coming out in a couple weeks. So expect more bearishness here on Infosys. HDFC Bank also tried to retrace just shy of this demand zone. It looks as though we're building momentum to try to break that demand rather than bounce from it. So we had this retracement of 50% and are going a little sideways. Lots of big topping tails indicate selling pressure. We just need this to build up. And as we come down to this low, we need to also be making new lows on the RSI. If we're not, then it could be a false break that we get a bounce. So keep an eye out for that. As prices come down and retest this 1532, we must have lower lows on the RSI at the same time, otherwise expect a bounce. ICICI Bank is showing a little bit more strength, but also not very strong because we still have lower highs and lower lows. You know, we did move down quite a bit in price, but not so much in momentum. But on the rallies, we're failing to get into bullish territory. That's suggesting that we're going to continue this pattern of moves down, move up, move down, move up, but overall moving down further than we move up until we hit the next target right around 780. And turning our attention to the Nifty Bank weekly chart, we're just kind of going sideways once again at an area of weekly demand that we finally got to a couple weeks ago. You can see we're basing there. We don't have enough momentum to break through. That's suggesting we may see another week of sideways choppiness just back and forth. And you can see as we go down to the daily chart, that's exactly what we have, is that choppiness back and forth, bounced off this little daily demand. We did get a positive divergence. Notice prices made the lower low, indicator made the higher low. That usually suggests that we're going to go sideways and rally just slightly. And you can see it was a small rally as we're pretty much just going sideways. Going down to the 4-hour chart, seeing a little more bearish activity as we didn't get divergence there. We actually did make a lower low, both in price and the indicator, suggesting that now as we come back down to retest this demand, we should go through and not bounce until 38,319, bounce there before heading down towards 37,155. So for the trade ideas, follow-ups on some of the old trade ideas that I've given you in the past, we're going to start off with UCO Bank, and unfortunately it's coming back into the demand zone much deeper. We have a lot of bearish momentum. Typically, if we go below 40 on the RSI as we come into a demand zone, it's not a time to buy. I know we were hoping for some sort of divergence, but it just didn't happen. We have more bearish momentum. Stay away from this. If you're in, manage your damage because it's likely to keep breaking down. IOC was one we were looking to go long. Unfortunately, never got into the demand. It did rally into the targets already, and now it's pushing down towards that demand, but too much bearish momentum to want to take a long. So watch out. Don't jump in on this one. NTPC actually came into our entry spot here. Notice we're entering into our demand zone currently. The RSI is still above 40, so we can look for some sort of confirmation here if you're not already in. If you are in, just manage the trade, but if you are not, wait for it to leave that zone at 172.80 before you jump in. And instead of placing the stop loss all the way down at the bottom, you could just use whatever low was made just before we broke out to the upside for that. So, new trade idea, we're going to jump on this one. And we've got Hindustan Unilever. It looks like 100% of the time over the last 10 years. Sorry, it's covered up a little bit there. Should show the last 10 years here. Move that out of the way if I can. There we go. Anyway, the last 10 years from March 28th to April 15th, this has been a winner. It's gone up on average about 5%. So I don't expect 5% gain necessarily. A couple of years is when it really skewed it a little bit, but we should get some sort of move up. First, we need to move down though. You can see we've already popped a little to the upside, but there's demand down here, 22.82 to 22.03. Lots of good buying pressure. So if we can pull back to that area, I would definitely love to buy this. And I'm going to target where some of the selling pressure begins. Target 1 at 25.56, target 2 at 26.17. So that's what I got for you this week. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm available at brandonwendell.cmt@gmail.com. You can also hit me up at TraderBdub on Twitter and follow me there. And of course, please, if you wouldn't mind, hit like, subscribe, and alerts so that way you get notified and give me some more support here in YouTube. And I thank you very much for your time and attention. Until next time, trade safe, trade well. Take care, everyone.